Hey, what's up guys? So this is the Q&A for the last episode of Project Go, which was girls with their parents. The first question is from My Bingy. I recently went on a couple of instant dates, but every time she asked me where are we going, I have no ideas what to say. Mostly we're just walking around the street aimlessly and chat. Should I suggest to her to go to my place and then lead to sex? What if I live pretty far and don't have a car? It's rarely ever a good idea to just be walking around with somebody that you just met. Always have a plan. My default is to go get coffee after I meet a girl and then invite her back to my house for dinner. Obviously, things change depending on where you are, what type of girl she is, how late it is in the day, and a whole bunch of other factors. But walking around in general is just not a good idea because the nonverbal communication is not powerful. Think about it. It's impossible to make heavy eye contact while you're walking. The only physical escalation you can really do is hold her hand or put your arm around her shoulders. And also, when she asks, where are you going, and you don't know, then you look like a chump. So again, always have a default plan. And if that can't work for some reason or another, then have another plan. Don't just walk around aimlessly. From V523, I tend to have these situations where I'm hitting or sometimes on a quick date with a girl, making her laugh and whatnot, while feeling like I'm making a good connection. As the interaction goes on, I notice she doesn't have any questions for me. I try to use the us mentality every now and then, or even just plain statements, so it doesn't feel like an interview. But as time goes on, I feel like I'm losing interest, or she is, even though there seems to be a spark in the beginning. Is it that she's not interested and I should have gotten the hint earlier, or I didn't know how to control it even though I held on as best I could? All right, so I'm guessing English is not your first language, but that's okay. To reiterate, for those that didn't really understand the question, I think what he's asking is he approaches a girl. It seems to go really well in the beginning and they have a connection, but over time, this connection that they make kind of dies down and it feels like they're not interested in each other anymore. You gotta realize some girls are just boring. If that's the case, you need to take charge of the situation. You don't have to necessarily make the conversation more interesting, but you do have to make the whole interaction more interesting. To do that, you should always be moving forward, verbally and physically. So if you find out that the conversation is getting boring, that probably means you need to hold her hand. Then if it gets boring again, that probably means you should pull her in closer to you and get really close. If that gets boring, that means you should probably kiss her. Then the next step is to bring her back to your house. So you always have to be moving forward. ESP asks, I've only been approaching girls that I am absolutely or highly attracted to. This has resulted in a lot of rejections and flakes. Did you guys try to get numbers from girls you weren't attracted to? Did it make it easier to connect and have more engaging conversations with girls you were attracted to? When you're approaching girls, approach girls that you don't find attractive. It helps you get in the mood of talking so that when the hot girl comes along, you'll know exactly what to do. It also gives you a lot of experience so that when you finally meet your 10, you won't just freeze up and not know what to do. Y964 says, that was really short. Didn't enjoy it. Now, a small percentage of you guys have this concern. If you see that the interaction is too short, you automatically think it sucks. You don't like it. If you feel like this, then you don't really understand our message. The length of the interaction, for the most part, is meaningless. It's how you handle the interaction that's the most important. Instead of focusing on the fact that it's short, focus on why it worked and how you can emulate it, not how many minutes it's going on for. From Captain Wiener, parents, who cares? The real question is, have you guys banged any models? You know, the perfect 10. My view of perfect 10 would be Rosie Huntington Whiteley. If you have, you need to post a video of you guys picking up models. We want to see how non-reactive you can be with the really hot girls, whether you are desensitized by beauty or not. Yes, we have banged models. Girls are girls. Once you hit an emotional switch in them, they become attracted. It doesn't matter how hot or ugly they are. Girls just generally have the same mechanisms in their brain that gets them attracted to a guy. In fact, if you do this a lot, you'll actually find that hot girls a lot of times are easier to talk to than the ugly ones because guys act like chumps around these girls just because they're hot. So when you come in all cool and confident and charming, she's immediately into you. Belle Jordan 23 says, Kong, would you have done the same thing if the girl was with her dad, or dad with her sister, or dad and her brother, or just one or two of her brothers, would it seem that it would be more of a challenge to get the girl's number? No matter who the girl was with, I would have done the exact same thing. Naps22 asks, Kong, what kind of V-neck t-shirts are those you consistently wear? Like the ones you're wearing at the beginning of the video. I get my shirts from a variety of places. Target, I think, is where I got that one. It's like $8. You don't need to spend a lot of money on clothing. Deciviza says, you guys always say not to ask for permission. In one of your videos, you had already held the girl's hand and then asked something like, I'm going to ask for your permission to talk to your daughter niece in private. Disregard of whether they gave you the permission, you still take them away, which proves you're not submissive and confident. Why didn't you do that in this case? That's a good question. So in the other video that you're talking about, I already won over the family, and I was already kind of friends with everybody because we've talked for like, I think 5 minutes or something like that. In this video, I just came up to them, so there's a huge difference there. Also, it all depends on the interaction. In general, asking for permission is a pussy move. But if she's with her parents, it's kind of disrespectful to just start hitting on the girl and not acknowledge the situation. Parents are very protective of their daughters. And if they see a random guy hitting on their daughter, their natural instinct will be to protect her from you unless you win them over first. One great way to win them over is to show respect and ask for their permission to talk to their daughter. Listen, I'm all about bending society's rules and being you no matter what, but you have to be smart about it. In my personal life, I use swear words a lot. Now, let's say I have a girlfriend and I'm going to meet her super conservative parents for the first time ever. I'm not gonna drop the words fuck and shit around them. Does that mean I'm a pussy because I'm not being myself? No, I'm just adjusting myself to adapt to the situation. And also, keep in mind that these rules we give you are just general guidelines. Nothing is ever set in stone. It always depends on the situation, and there's always various factors that come into play. Alex54 asks, what's going to happen when you guys get too big, too popular? Do you ever feel as if pickup will just be common knowledge to everyone and it will be harder to pick up girls? Recently, I've been noticing that when I do day game, a lot of girls mention that they've been approached that same day or week. Pickup will never become too popular. Why? Because most people don't have the dedication to stick to it. We have hundreds of thousands of people subscribed to us on YouTube, but only a small percentage of those people are subscribed to Project Go. That number indicates how many people are serious about improving this part of their life. The world is so huge that even if we got 1 million guys to subscribe to Project Go, that still wouldn't be enough to make a difference. Don't worry about it becoming too popular. Just focus on your own journey.